Ever pondered why people act the way they do? This question has intrigued minds for centuries, prompting the study of human behavior, an intricate interplay of actions, decisions, and conduct. It's why we interact and react the way we do, and it's influenced myriad factors. One of these is our genetic makeup, the DNA blueprint we inherit. This has been affirmed by studies such as the one by Bouchard et al., 1990, which found that identical twins, even when raised separately, exhibited similar behaviors. This suggests an inherent genetic influence on our temperaments and susceptibility to certain behaviors. However, genes aren't the sole sculptors of our behavior. The environment plays a significant part too. Our surroundings mold us, shaping our responses to stimuli. This is supported by various research studies, including a 2012 study published in Nature, which found that mice raised in enriched environments with opportunities for exploration and social interaction showed enhanced cognitive abilities and decreased stress levels. Culture, defined by shared beliefs, values, and practices, also dictates behavior. Studies such as Hofstede's cultural dimensions theory showcase how cultural influences can impact our perception and reaction to various situations. It's why what's considered respectful in one culture might be offensive in another. But understanding human behavior isn't just about intellectual curiosity. According to a study by Hareli and Raffaelli in Understanding Emotional Expressions, helps us gauge social norms and anticipate responses, navigating our social world more effectively. Understanding aids in resolving conflicts, fostering harmonious relationships, and driving positive behavioral changes. As we delve deeper into this fascinating world, bear in mind that behind every action and reaction, there is a story influenced by genes, environment, and culture. As the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology suggests, understanding human behavior isn't merely riveting, but it equips us to traverse our social world more proficiently. Let's delve deeper, using a comprehensive case study that sheds light on a pervasive yet perplexing human behavior, the bystander effect. In the early morning hours of March 13, 1964, a young woman named Kitty Genovese fell victim to a horrific crime on her way home in Queens, New York. Despite her desperate cries for help, accounts suggest that as many as 38 witnesses saw or heard the attack, and yet not a single person intervened or reported the incident to the police until it was tragically late. This shocking event ignited a wave of interest among psychologists, leading to what we now understand as the bystander effect. The bystander effect refers to the paradoxical phenomenon where the presence of other people actually decreases the likelihood of an individual to offer help to a victim. Quite counterintuitive, isn't it? It would seem logical that the more people there are, the higher the chances of someone stepping in to help. But that's not the case. Psychologists Bibb Latané and John Darley were the first to label this behavior, identifying two principal factors contributing to it. The first factor is the diffusion of responsibility, a concept that suggests that in a group setting, individuals often feel less personally accountable for taking action, thinking instead that someone else will step forward. Consider being in a bustling street and witnessing someone collapse. Immediate thought could be, someone else is bound to call an ambulance. This diffusion of responsibility can paralyze us into inaction, even in the gravest of situations. The second factor is the fear of social embarrassment. Often, we hesitate to intervene for fear of misreading the situation and subsequently embarrassing ourselves. What happens if the person didn't actually need help, and we've caused unnecessary panic? Delving into the chilling case of Kitty Genovese, it's plausible to assume that these factors played a pivotal role. The witnesses could have been under impression that someone else would alert the authorities, or they may have been deterred by the potential embarrassment of misinterpreting the situation. These theories are not just mere speculation. Studies by Latané and Darley in the late 60s, involving staged emergencies, have empirically demonstrated the bystander effect in action, reinforcing its validity. The Kitty Genovese case serves as a potent reminder of how our can be dramatically swayed by the presence of others. It underscores the critical need to comprehend the bystander effect and consciously strive to counteract it. Because in pressing times, our response, or lack thereof, can indeed form the line dividing survival and catastrophe. Now, let's traverse a compelling facet of human psychology, groupthink. Groupthink is a psychological that transpires in a group of individuals when the pursuit of harmony or conformity fosters a dysfunctional or irrational decision-making result. Members of the group strive to avoid conflict and attain a consensus without critically analyzing different perspectives, resulting in the sacrifice of more accurate or beneficial solutions. Apart from the notorious Bay of Pigs invasion, there are numerous instances where groupthink has impacted historical events. One such example is the tragic explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986. Investigations into the disaster revealed that engineers had voiced concerns about the craft's launch in freezing conditions. However, their warnings were ignored due to a culture of conformity within NASA and the decision-making team's desire to stay on schedule. Several research investigations have delved deeper into the construct of groupthink. A seminal study by Janus in 1972 revealed the conditions that typically contribute to the emergence of groupthink, which include high levels of group cohesiveness, stressful situations with high stakes, directive leadership, and insulation of the group from external influences. Returning our attention to the Bay of Pigs invasion, we can see it was a classic example of groupthink leading to disastrous consequences. The invasion was an unsuccessful endeavor by the U.S. government in 1961 to topple Fidel Castro's regime in Cuba. Crafted by the CIA and greenlit by President John F. Kennedy, the plan saw its downfall due to significant oversight that stemmed from groupthink. The planners and decision-makers, originating from similar backgrounds and sharing common perspectives, were so absorbed in reaching an agreement that they failed to acknowledge crucial errors in their plan. They overlooked Castro's forces and the absence of support from the Cuban populace. Their decision-making process lacked dissenting voices, which resulted in the absence of creativity and critical thought. With no one to challenge the prevailing assumptions or proffer alternative strategies, the planners were so assured of their cause's righteousness and their plan's infallibility that they didn't consider the possibility of failure. The repercussions were severe. The invasion did not only fail, but also harmed U.S. international relations and reputation. This example underscores how groupthink can contribute to poor decision-making, with grave consequences. Therefore, it's essential that groups promote diversity of thought and nurture an environment where opposing viewpoints are not only welcomed, but also valued and considered. The Bay of Pigs case amplifies the perils of groupthink and the significance of diverse opinions. Scene script. Moving forward, we delve deeper into the concept known as the halo effect, a psychological phenomenon that can significantly sway our perceptions of others. Consider a scenario. You're in a corporate boardroom. You spot a colleague, elegantly attired, articulate, and brimming with charisma. Almost reflexively, you credit them with intelligence, competence, and trustworthiness. This immediate presumption, dear viewers, is the embodiment of the halo effect. It signifies our propensity to allow impressions formed in one domain to shape our viewpoint in another. To understand the roots of the halo effect, we take a journey back in time. Tracing its origins reveals it to be an evolutionary remnant, born out of our ancestors' necessity for swift judgment-making. Visualize our forebears, inhabiting a world where hasty judgments often spelled the difference between survival and death. These rapid assessments have lingered into our contemporary society, subtly affecting our perceptions of others, often beneath our conscious awareness. Now, let's explore a familiar setting in the corporate universe. Consider a highly successful CEO, appealing, assertive, and magnetic. Because of these traits, we readily believe they're exceptional decision-makers or innovators, even in the absence of solid proof. This is the halo effect in action, guiding us towards potentially biased judgments and choices. Research has evidenced the remarkable implications of the halo effect. For instance, in a study conducted by Nisbet and Wilson, it was demonstrated that participants rated a warm and friendly lecturer as more competent than a cold and distant one, indicating that interpersonal warmth influenced the perception of professional competence. In our everyday lives, the halo effect can have serious repercussions, particularly in professional settings. For instance, during recruitment processes, an applicant's physical appeal or charisma might unduly influence an interviewer's perception of their capabilities. Similarly, in performance appraisals, an employee's likability can eclipse their actual performance. Conversely, this bias isn't confined to positive traits. The opposite is known as the horns effect, where a negative trait skews our perception of a person's other attributes. For example, if a person seems to be always tardy, we might conclude they are disorganized in all facets of their work, regardless of its factual basis. Awareness is the key to combating the influence of the halo effect. By acknowledging this inherent bias, we can strive to make more objective judgments, grounded on evidence and not mere superficial impressions. The halo effect unveils the intriguing complexities of our psyche, showing us how our perceptions can be distorted by seemingly unrelated characteristics. It stands as a poignant reminder. Looks can indeed be deceptive. Today, we ventured into the intricate domain of human behavior, investigating common phenomena such as the bystander effect, groupthink, and halo effect, and their implications on our actions and interactions. We started with the bystander effect, where an individual's likelihood of helping someone decreases in the presence of others. This underlines the significant role of personal responsibility and initiative in our actions. To delve deeper into this, we suggest reading The Unresponsive Bystander, Why Doesn't He Help? By Bib Latane and John Darley. Next, we into groupthink, a behavioral pattern where the quest for group harmony can trigger irrational decision-making. It signifies the importance of valuing individual thought within group decisions. For further understanding on this, Irving Janis's Groupthink, Psychological Studies of Policy Decisions and Fiascos, is a worthy read. Lastly, we explored the halo effect, which is when our overall impression of a person influences our perception of their character, thus underlining our potential to bias. To further investigate this, Nisbet and Wilson's The Halo Effect, Evidence for Unconscious Alteration of Judgments, is an insightful read. In sum, understanding these behaviors equips us with a tool for effectively navigating our world, allowing us to predict others' actions, make informed decisions, strengthen relationships, and enhance empathy. We recommend Behave, The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst, by Robert Sapolsky for a more comprehensive look at these concepts and their applications in real-world scenarios.